Can you take the roll, please?
Ms. Nuts?
Here.
Mr. Carey?
Here.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Here.
Ms. Rashid?
Here.
Ms. Fryer?
Here.
And Mr. Parker?
Here.
All right, if there's no additions or omissions, I move for approval of the minutes of the regular board meeting of June 18th, 2024, the special board meeting of July 3rd, 2024, and the board work session of August 12th, 2024. So moved.
Second.
Okay. Wow, Preston. We have so much going on. I didn't even sit down to write anything down. We've had a busy summer. There's a lot going on, a lot more to come. So my fault. I did not think, there's probably going to be 100 things that I didn't write down. But we're going to go ahead and let the director help me out.
Well, I don't know if you want to speak to you and Trustee Corrigan and Trustee Fryer and Shakarian at ALA and your experience.
Yes. Like I said, there was so much going on and there was so much to learn. And no, we did go to San Diego and it was very interesting. There was a lot to see what's going on in the library world and how what our contribution could be or should be and how we're viewing things. But we were there. The weather was great, and there's so much going on.
And our director got a major award. I was very happy to read the article about it since I didn't get to go, but I read about you in the magazine and what they told you were doing.
Oh, he's doing big things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, director. Thank you, Alice. Thank you.
I think there's so much that we're doing in Cleveland and in Ohio that other libraries are looking at us for.
I agree.
Our human resources and DEI leadership presented at the conference, and I
Yes.
was just so proud at what we're doing and comparing that to other libraries and how many people are asking us questions for how we do this work. I think it's very impressive.
Yeah. And we're also moving right along with the Walsh branch. We did a little welcoming in the neighborhood. When was that? About a couple weeks ago?
Yes.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
just to let the neighborhood know that we are still working on it because there was a lot of questions being asked about what's going on with the Wells branch.
That was good to have. that.
Yeah, that we had a good day. It was one of the hottest days that we had so
But
far.
You had fans, you had sunglasses with Cleveland Library, you had all the tents.
It was fun. It's fun, and that is moving right along. So there's still a lot more work that we are doing. But I do thank you, Director. Thank you.
All right. So thanks to everybody. I've been under the mindset. Someone said something to me yesterday about getting awards, and they said, if it is important that when you get your flowers during that period of time when you could smell them, right? So, right. So I understand, I kind of have not been like really thinking about any of the awards or whatever, but I should appreciate them while I'm able to appreciate them.
Well,
So-
tell us more about the digital nationally, your specific reasons of being honored.
It's for the Equality Award, and the Equality Award is for those who've supported the equity within the field and doing the work to make sure that everyone has an opportunity to in the library world to be successful. So that's what we do there. So I wanted to Trustee Rodriguez's and Shakarian's comments about ALA. I shared with you an article, The Quiet Crisis Facing United States Public Libraries. And it speaks to a lessening of attendance at libraries that has been happening since COVID and has kind of leveled out since COVID and has not increased. And so it is an area that library administrators and directors across the country are having conversations about. It is something that we are focused on. Now people can use libraries in different ways. We make it very easy for them. We have drive-throughs. We have pickups where they could just walk in and just walk right out. And I think we're all, for libraries, trying to figure out how we create spaces that people want to spend more time at. When I was, a young librarian, the number one key was how do we get people in and out faster? So we started doing self-checks and things of that nature to move people in and out of libraries fast as we possibly can, almost trying to pick up kind of the fast food market way of thinking. But now that's changed, and we are now trying to figure out how do we keep people in our libraries longer. So that's part of what we are continuing to think about as we build our libraries and then create our programming. I want to do an introduction. I want to introduce to you Dr. Carlos Marshall, who's the Chief Diversity Officer for Dayton Metro Library. For everybody here. And so Carlos has come to us to kind of see what we do. So he's going to be meeting with all our staff, and he wanted to have an opportunity to just see what a board meeting is like. And Carlos, I don't know if you want to come up and just make a few comments about what's going on in Dayton Metro. I certainly didn't tell you anything of that. I have the great fortune of sitting on a number of panels with Carlos. We've been going kind of around doing panels and around being an African-American librarian, a male African-American librarian of color. And Carlos has been on that panel with me. So,
absolutely. Thank you so much for that, Dr. Thomas. It's an absolute honor and privilege to be here. I had an opportunity to speak with Alice a little while ago, and I had a hard hat tour of the MLK library branch. So just a phenomenal project demonstrating what libraries can do through public and private partnerships. So just a little bit about my role at the Dayton Metro Library, being the Chief Diversity Officer there. We have a department of 5. I have an assistant EDI director. We also have.
Don't say that to Ashley here.
For sure, it's absolutely work that doesn't
We have
come.
a better multitasker.
For sure, and absolutely, we have we just hired a racial equity manager as well to advance that within the community as well as the library. We'll have a specific focus on supporting Black boys, young men, as well as their support system. We have a new American specialist, so we do in-house English as second language classes, as well as helping people with documentation and getting legal status within the community. We also have an LGBTQIA+ specialist and an older adult specialist as well. So we're really trying to get out there in the community, doing things related to programming and direct services. So I'm excited to be here and see all of the wonderful things that Cleveland Public Library continues to do as an anchor institution within this region. So thank you for having me.
Thank you so
Carlos.
much.
And to that point, why don't you introduce your new staff member now, Ashley?
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
I am very proud to introduce to you all our new DEI manager, Maria Estrella. Maria, if you would please. And I would ask that Maria come up and tell us a little bit about herself and her tenure here at the Cleveland Public Library.
Hello, everyone. Can you see?
There you go.
There we go. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Maria Estrella. I am the new Manager of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion for the Cleveland Public Library. I have worked within the institution for 24 years, so it has been a while.
Oh, wow.
I was a page, and now I'm the Manager of DEI.
Nice.
Throughout my whole phases, my key objective is to create welcoming spaces for our community. Thank you.
You're
Well,
awesome.
thank
Thank you.
So 2 more kudos and then 1 presentation. First, kudos to Michael Ruffing. Where's Michael? Michael Ruffing. He worked unbelievably hard to get us what will be forthcoming historical marker for the 100th anniversary of May.
Wow.
Right.
Was my co-conspirator, and Laura Walter helped with our editing, but it was it was a collaboration.
And these are really hard to get.
Yeah,
I
they
didn't
are.
recognize how difficult until I started getting the notes from other folks who didn't get it. So we got a nice letter from the sisters who were trying to get one for the Saints,
Former Ursuline campus.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were trying to get it for that, and they didn't. And so they wrote us a nice letter congratulating us and wishing saying if anyone were to get it other than us, I guess it could go around to be in the library. So kudos to them. Kudos to Erica and
Wow.
for a tremendous number of programming. Erica is going to speak to the incubator in a little bit, but before that, Jacqueline Lamb, come up here.
Jacqueline.
For a number of our board members were here yesterday for the Sugarman Award,
Wow.
and that award went. The award ceremony went as well as it possibly gave it. I told her I gave her a 93, right? And I'm upping it to a 93.2 in Foresight afterwards. It was that good. Well, no one gets more than the 90 for me.
Oh,
But
wow. Okay.
so 93.2 is outstanding. It was just phenomenal. It was well done. I think all of those who were here really enjoyed themselves.
Children were in the audience.
Couple hundred.
Yeah, about a little over 200, maybe like
Yeah.
205.
That's so wonderful.
Yeah.
Miss Lamb,
Yes.
this is
Yes,
great.
it was
Nice.
beautiful. It was
Yeah.
beautiful.
Thank you so much.
No
I
problem.
appreciate it.
No,
You
thank
did a
you.
wonderful
Thank
job.
you.
All right. Now, Erica just is going to, as you can see, if you walk through the garden, there's a big setup there, and the big setup will be for.
So, hi everyone. The Cleveland Public Library is a part of Cleveland Book Week. And so we are also a sponsor of two programs, Incubator and Glossy. And so this weekend, we're hosting the Incubator Conference. It's hosted by Literary Cleveland. It will be housed here. So we're very excited to have them. Last year, they had around 500-600 people attend the conference, and they're expecting the same attendance this weekend. So we are really excited. And just to let you all know, to close out Cleveland Book Week, that is when we are hosting our Cleve Reach Young Adult Book Festival. So we still have a lot of exciting programs and opportunities to come.
Nice.
Thank you.
With coming. And so, I've taken a lot of time, more time than I usually do in the director's report. But I wanted to do one last thing, because at the last board meeting, there was a question around hotspots. And so John Malcolm and Susie put together a little presentation for you to tell you how we're moving forward on hotspots.
Can I interrupt real quick before we listen to Mr. Malcolm? When you're talking about this, one of the things we also did forget to mention that to me was pretty big was we now have an amphitheater in the Huff Library. I
Yes.
don't know if any of you have had a chance, or if you want to take a minute. It was pretty cool, just the way it's all set up there. And that was done during the summer as well. So I just want
Did
to,
they plant flowers in the bioswale? I haven't been there since.
Yeah.
it's beautiful. Yes, they
It's-
do. They have a lot of perennials. And like I said, there was so much going on that my mind was boggled. But I did want to say when I did go to that, and it's a
Yeah.
beautiful space.
You're literally giving John Lang his flowers.
Yes.
So, right. John Lang
It-
did
it's
a lot of
awesome.
work on that. It was Shanice who got the money from Bruning Foundation. So everything we do is basically over
It's a lot.
everybody's discipline or whatever. And it's been since the summer. So since we've had a board meeting, so we've had a lot happen during that period of time. But everyone has just been doing phenomenal work. John Malcolm.
There you
All
go.
right, trustees, director. I will say that Susie has done 99.99% of the work for nines. One of the questions you guys asked us about, the board asked us, is in regards to our hotspots. You should have some slides in there that were put together, just showing the numbers. In general, we looking at that, and holistically, we have about a 25% return, so 75% loss on our hotspots. We have 1,500 hotspots that are about to be rolled out now, but part of this was to determine how can we manage these hotspots in a way where we can up that number at least to a 50% return. So Susie has met in accordance with our branch managers and her team to come up with some plans around that. And we just want to highlight some of that. You want to talk about that, Susie?
Yeah, so we have a hotspot committee that consists of branch managers and lending managers to kind of discuss how hotspots are going in the with it is that we don't necessarily have updated contact information for the patrons when they check out the hotspot. So one of our recommendations is to ensure that the information that we have is updated. We're not necessarily waiting until their card expires to make sure that that information is updated. We get reports that some people are expressing that they never checked out a hotspot. So someone else is checking out hotspots using their cards. So one of the recommendations is to require some form of identification so that people aren't getting these surprise charges of a missing device. So we talked amongst the staff who loan out the devices. They've talked to patrons. So the recommendations that we have is more of a collaborative thing of what we feel will help these hotspots come back. The new hotspots that we have a lot more control over the service versus our old one, in which when they were overdue, we actually had to put in a request for them to be turned off. So there was a little bit of inconsistencies with that. But with our newer hotspots, we have full control over being able to turn them off when they're overdue. We're going to be implementing some new contact. So everyone gets automated notifications when their devices are coming due, when they're overdue and they're lost. We're going to add an additional level of contact in the event that they miss that initial notification. We've had some really good luck with us calling patrons. They like that personal interaction versus getting an automated message. We're also, although we're adding a few extra layers to kind of protect everyone, we are actually recommending we extend the loan period. So you got a few more steps to check it out, but we're going to extend it an additional week. So instead of 21-day checkouts, everyone's going to get 28 checkouts. And then we're also looking into some possible incentives. If you return your hotspot, you can get entered into a monthly drawing to receive some type of something. Yeah, CPO swag. So
it cut off on here, but when it says new hotspot agreement form
So-
to include.
So we have a current hotspot form. Our last batch of hotspots were funded through the Emergency Connective Fund. So there was a form required for them to fill it out. So we're modifying that form and digitizing it. So people aren't having to fill it out. We've got cabinets of forms, so we're digitizing that form. So all they have to do is tap a couple buttons. It's automatically pulling hotspot data in, and then they just have to sign it, and then we have electronic records of it instead of paper copies. So we're trying to be a little bit more sustainable.
This question's just because I apologize. I
Oh, no,
feel
that's
like
all right.
I should know this, but people can only request hotspots inside a library branch, or can they reserve one online and then come and pick it up in person?
Right now, it's first come, first serve, just because of that need. What are the other recommendations? I'm sorry, is that that hotspots will be available for City of Cleveland or those who reside in CMSD zip codes. Right now, there are people from all over Northeast Ohio coming and checking out hotspots, but it should really be benefiting the residents of Cleveland.
So when they check them out, you are also they're updating their address, and you make sure that they are Cleveland.
That they reside within our zip code so that they can check them out. And
That's good.
Yeah.
We could put a note in that says we're working with a Taiwanese supplier it might explode. But I'm making a bad
You know what
joke.
time I'm done with you.
But my concern is that we're a no fines library for library materials. We're not no fines for hotspots, correct?
well, if they're overdue, there's no fines, but once it goes lost, there's that replacement cost that kicks in.
All right.
And at what point do you consider it lost?
So I believe if it's 45 days
Okay.
overdue, the system automatically makes it lost. We also, with our new system, it does give us the ability to remotely change settings. So right now, all the hotspots have CPL hotspot. We can change that so that there is a message displayed on the device that it's overdue, please return. So we have additional layers to be able to contact patrons and know that.
And do they have a street value and is somebody selling them? That's the
No.
other concern I have.
It's possible that someone's trying to do that, but our vendor says once we turn that off, there's really nothing they can do with it. So it's.
And what is have you actually collected how much per device do you charge them if it's 45 days overdue and they?
So it's the cost of the hotspot replacement, which is $90, and then the cost for the cases, the cases and the cables. So it's over $100 to replace
So
this
if you
device.
know that ahead of time,
Right.
that should be in their agreement.
Yeah,
that
well, one
they're
of the
signing.
recommendations was that there's some type of like bookmark or rack card that clearly explains everything. While the cases do have labels indicating like replacement fees, there's not necessarily like the whole loan agreement. So we are going to attach those to devices so that people know what the expectations are. And we're hoping all these measures kind of reduces devices.
Have you actually collected some though from all these losses?
I do not believe we've collected on many, unfortunately.
Wow.
I just have, sorry, one last question. Where it says include a card with loan rules, meaning like debit or credit card?
Oh, no. It's just a little information card that's attached
okay.
to the
That's
hotspot
what it is.
device.
Okay.
Yep.
Because I know when we had this discussion at a prior board meeting, there was a thought about those who, maybe when we were talking about changing certain options at the library for other
Have a
things that people
card
pay in
to-
cash.
yeah.
So,
I think
but
the
this is a card of
logistics would be-
information.
Yeah, this is just an information
Too
card. Requiring some form of like credit card, I think, is too much of a burden
Yeah,
on
it's
our
too much
patrons.
logistics for that.
Yeah. So it's just an information card that expressly says that this is your loan period. If it's overdue, it gets turned off. And after so many days, it becomes lost and there's replacement cost for it. But we're hoping being able to have their updated information. It means that they're getting our notifications. It gives us a way to contact them. And then those added incentives, they get an extra week added onto their loan period, and they have a chance to win an incentive if they bring their hotspots back.
So we know we're never gonna get to 100%, but we have to vastly improve from 25%. And it's between education of our patrons and these things that the team has pulled together. My personal hopeful goal is to get over 50% return.
You might have said this at the last presentation, but I'm curious, as you look at who's bringing the hotspots, does that tell you anything about new policies or processes in terms of demographics and who exactly is using the hotspots more often?
I don't necessarily know if we've pulled any data about demographics.
No.
So there's still a lot of work for us to do before we roll out the new hotspots. I think one of the things that we can learn from other libraries, one is that this is a similar issue at libraries across the country. Many of us libraries received the hotspots through COVID, and everything was rushed to get that out there to make sure people had it. And so it was a learning experience for everyone to learn how to go about checking out hotspots. I think there is a bigger role to be played with public services and folks as they check them out, having conversations with folks and letting them know that it's important for them to bring these back if they want to be able to use them in the future. If you just try to keep holding on to them, they're just not suddenly going to pop back on, right? Or if you try to hold off because you just forgot about them, you will be charged for them, right? So, you know, we've done things for students who've always had historically problems bringing things back around little things that magnets that people, kids can put on, the parents will put on their refrigerators so the kids remember to bring their books back. Those type of things we have to focus on, because I don't think it's so much that it's a malignancy of people trying to go and sell them. I just think people just look at it as something that doesn't work anymore, and they just throw it to the side and they don't bring it back.
I will also mention that we are looking into offering that form in other languages, so there is not a language barrier to understanding what the loan rules are as well.
Thank you. Wow. We have.
And that's the end of my director's report.
Is that it?
Mhm.
Okay. The communications report, Director? Did you, I didn't see them. They weren't included in here. There were 2 pieces of communications here.
Yeah.
It was an
I
email.
don't see them here.
And I couldn't load it up either. It was an email from Brooks Rainwater, the president and CEO of Urban Library. Oh, you were able to pull it up?
Yeah, I can't pull
She's
it.
fancy. The director couldn't either. Weird. Do you want to read it or?
Sure.
Yeah.
The internet's just.
moving very slow.
Everybody look at John Malcolm. All right. This is from Brooks Rainwater, who is the head of the president and CEO of Urban Libraries Council. The end of July marks the conclusion of ULC's barbershop books pilot, of which Cleveland Public Library has been a key part over the past year. I want to express ULC's sincerest appreciation for your team's time, commitment, and hard work to establish partnerships with 10 local barbershops and host programming for youth in the community. We believe that across library systems, the pilot program increased access to books for an estimated 15,113 Black and African American males aged 5 to 9. Additionally, children interacted with the books and with an estimated 81,016 times over the year. And our team had a great experience working with DeFranco Barnes, Alexander Leonard, and Isabel Rue on this work. As Cleveland Public Library moves forward with this work, however you will determine, please know that ULC is here to provide any support that is needed. Again, another kind of joint. Shanice, got a grant from ULC. It was Jacqueline, and then Erica's team doing the work of getting out there and reaching out to barbershops in African American communities, and then having the barbers, training the barbers so that the barbers could talk to kids about books and the importance of reading.
What was the number? 15,000, a little over 15,000.
Yeah, that was across the country. So
Oh.
this was done in 10 spaces across the country. So kudos to all of you guys for that. That was hard work. And make sure you let them know.
Thank you. There's one more right here.
And then, okay.
Oh, you got it?
Yeah, it finally came up. So, John Malcolm. All right, dear Mr. Thomas, I am writing you to let you know Michael Myers passed away. My uncle, Michael Myers, passed away in Lakewood on May 30th, 2024. I'm going through his papers, my siblings, and I realized immediately how much our uncle valued the public library system and what an avid user he was. He filled all correspondence related to his requests and library usage and kept a close eye on how the library system was doing via annual reports and budgets. Some time back, he even wrote to Representative Dennis Kucinich to extol the work of your large team and advocate for evening hours. And he regularly noted with pride Ohio's strong public library usage. My siblings and I were able to locate the library items outstanding for return at the time of his passing and take them to the Eastman branch, where we spoke with Nancy Summerall about the user you know most recently as Patron Myers. She said she kindly shared recollections of working with him and certainly gave us the sense that the library team was in some way his family. She also suggested that I write to you. few days later, we received a call from Steve Wall, who likewise reminisced with some humor about his encounters with our uncle and said that Patron Myers was just kind of famous throughout the library system. My siblings and I would like to thank everyone on the Cleveland Public Library team for attending so thoughtfully to our late uncle's broad interests and enabling him to enrich his life by utilizing the library and its resources. We'd also appreciate you sharing the news of his death with all of those who knew or might have known him with deep appreciation.
That's lovely.
It's really nice.
That's all the communication.
Okay. Good, that bad. The nice thing about that too is they said he was a resident of Lakewood. And he was coming to the Eastman branch all the time. Just stood out to me a little bit. Thank you so much, Director. We're now going to go ahead and move into the Finance Committee report. Trustee Corrigan?
Yes, Finance Committee met Tuesday, and so I will do an accelerated version of these. They all came through committee, and just waiting for it to load up a little bit. Exhibit 1 is a resolution to accept the gifts for the month of June, July, and August, whereas attached as resolution of the gift reports itemizing the gifts received by the library during those months. We be resolved that the gifts described in the gift reports for June, July, and August 24 be accepted upon the conditions connected with said gifts in accordance with the Ohio Revised Code 3375.40K. So moved.
Second.
Ms. Butts?
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Mr. Corrigan?
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Rashid?
Yes.
And Ms. Fryer?
Yes.
And Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Exhibit 2 is a resolution to accept Sustainable Stores Grant from Cuyahoga County. Whereas on July 29, 24, the library was notified the Department of Sustainability at the county was selected to receive a 2024 Sustainable Stores Grant for the retail communities to eliminate plastic checkout bags in partnership with designated retailers. Whereas the $8,000 grant the library will take the first step toward eliminating the use of plastic bags and encouraging the use of reusable ones through the distribution of multi-use bags. Whereas the county's Department of Sustainability estimates that 12 retailers, 6 food pantries, and 7 library book locations that are part of this grant will collectively eliminate more than 8,000 plastic checkout bags. Whereas the library expresses its gratitude to the county's Department of Sustainability for this grant, be it resolved that the board, pursuant to authority set forth in RC 3375.40K, accepts a grant in the amount of $8,000 to be reimbursed upon the completion of the grant activities into the funder's account to support the 2024 Sustainable Stores Grant for Retail Communities, and hereby authorizes Executive Director, CEO, or his designee to enter into and execute such agreements and instruments as approved by the library's Director of Legal Affairs that are necessary and appropriate to effectuate the terms and conditions of this grant and resolution. So moved.
Second. Ms. Butts?
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Mr. Corrigan?
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Rashid?
Yes.
Ms. Fryer?
Yes.
And Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Director Thomas, I did have a question with Marina's presentation on this topic and her new title. Is there going to be collaboration with facilities on investigating solar or other facilities related sustainability?
We've had that question with John Lang right after you mentioned it the last part of the time. And John, you've mentioned that you've been examining solar for a while here. And go ahead.
We've been looking at it on a project by project basis. So I think our next opportunity to do is probably with the Group 2 program, which would be the entire balance of the system starting in 2025. A few of the locations we looked at it on the Group 1. It depends on what you look as an how you balance the economic factors against this kind of good citizen sustainability factors. But from a payout in a 3 to 5 year payback in a 3 to 5 year range, they don't work economically. I don't like sharing that news, but that is the hard truth of the state of the solar industry right now. We'll continue to look for those opportunities. I do agree that there's value in modeling behavior to the community. So maybe we're willing to look at a longer payback on the upfront capital investments. And the Group 2 will be the next opportunity to do that.
That's good to hear. Yeah.
Funding.
And if we get funding, I think, this is where, the county grant for the bags is modest, but I think there's, conversations also with the county showing that we're interested as they get funneled down from the feds with the infrastructure bill and other sustainable opportunities. So
many years.
The great thing about Marina in the position is she's started to integrate her work with the folks at the city and at the county. And so she knows folks in both. And I think they see CPL as a great partner. So I think there are opportunities in the future. I think, again, it's a decision for the board, right? The payout may not be around in the 3 to 5 year span, but we don't intend that these buildings are only being built for 5 years, 5 year period of time. We're looking at a lot longer, maybe not as long as we used to in the past, but maybe in at least the 30 to 40 year range.
We had a history with Langston Hughes with geothermal and all kinds of things have been talked about for all these years, but yeah, we still don't know exactly what it holds.
Thank you, John.
And I might make a historical note, since I think I'm the only board member around when the board, and it's now got to be more than 17 or 18 years ago, because I know it was early in Mr. Venable's time, so probably maybe even 20 years ago, we made the decision as a board to buy a much more reusable bag. And I dare say there's probably not a more reused plastic bag in the city of Cleveland than the Cleveland Public Library. Now, that's at our expense, but we also know that then they're not just thrown away, and they're very frequently reused. And that's the decision. We're still putting plastic in the environment, and it would be great to get away from it. But I think we've been more responsible than many others. We don't have throwaway bags. People are reusing our bags all the time. And I might point out that with some of this grant money or some other available funds, if we might look at some of the biggest grocery stores are starting to find plastic alternatives. And I wonder if I know just the last month, Giant Eagle is now producing a fabric giveaway bag that's not charged. And I think we probably ought to take a look and see whether we ought to be doing something in that area. So let's throw that out.
Ms. Butts?
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Mr. Corrigan?
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Rashid?
Yes.
Ms. Fryer?
Yes.
And Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Exhibit 3 is a resolution to ratify and approve the purchase of insurance coverage for policies effective August 1, 2024. Whereas on July 2022, the board authorized the renewal of insurance packages for 4 one-year renewal periods beginning August 23. Whereas on June 24, the board authorized executive director to make final determination to accept the insurance package that provides the best coverage for lowest overall cost for a total annual premium for all policies not to exceed $714,379, and that the coverage would be presented, by ratification, but for the board at the next regularly scheduled meeting, meaning this one. Whereas the renewal premiums are as follows, that's set forth, it's $364,000 for the property and boiler and machinery, $16,000 for our fine arts additional protection, general liability policy, which includes employee benefits, employees' liability, and abuse and molestation, and our commercial auto, $145,000. And we have an expiring $19,000 crime premium. That's the biggest increase in terms of percentage of all our premiums. Cyber liability policy is now $28,000, and the public officials and employment practices liability has been raised $12,000 to $62,000. Whereas the combined annual premiums are a 7.8% increase. The board be it resolved that the Board of Library Trustees ratifies the decision to purchase the property, fine arts, general liability, law enforcement, professional liability, automobile liability, umbrella liability, crime and cyber liability through McGowan & Company for the third year's premium of $578,508.50 for the period August 1, 2024 through August 1st, 2025. And be resolved that the board ratifies the decision to purchase the public employees, public officials, and employment practice liability through Marsh for the third year's premium of $62,000 for the period August 1, 2024 to August 2025. So moved.
Second.
Just want to answer the outstanding questions from the Finance Committee meeting earlier this week. The question raised was how is the artwork that the library owns and that is in the library's possession on loan to CPL. How is that insured? And after consulting with our insurance brokers and our policies, I'm happy to report that all of our artwork and all of the artwork on loan to Cleveland Public Library is covered with primary coverage under the Travelers Inland Marine Fine Arts policy. That policy has a deductible of $5,000. So in essence, everything worth $5,000 and up is covered. Were there ever an extraordinary circumstance where our loss exceeded the value of our policy, which is $12,757,000, we would also be able to then draw from our affiliated FM blanket coverage, which has an additional $1 million. So I think we have some very significant levels of coverage here.
And
You're welcome.
I happen to know, only because I'm a frequenter of the Capitol Theater, that there's a special, for those items of our art collection that we loan out, there's a special agreement with those exhibitors, for lack of a better term, so that the protection is still there, both under their policies with us as an additional insureds, as well as our coverage. That for those who know the theater, lantern slides, which was the earliest way the movies were advertised outside the movie theater. We have a very large and very valuable collection, and 6 or 7 of those lantern slide posters are on display at the Capitol Theater. And I think we've loaned them to some other people too. But that's my best example to show how we protect our art, and when we do loan it out, we protect it as well.
Thank you very much for answering our question.
You're welcome.
Ms. Betts?
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Mr. Corrigan?
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Rashid?
Yes.
Ms. Fryer?
Yes.
And Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Exhibit 4 is a resolution to ratify agreements for leased vehicles with Enterprise FM Trust. Whereas the board authorized in March of 21, the library to enter a lease and maintenance agreement with Enterprise FM Trust for 15 vehicles for a period of 60 months. Whereas on June 18th of this year, the board authorized the library to execute lease agreements for 3 2024 Chevrolet Silverado pickup trucks that were ordered in October 23. Whereas on August 13, 2024, the library accepted delivery of those trucks. And whereas on August 21, 24, the library took delivery of the remaining 2 of their 2024 Chevrolet Silverado pickups that it ordered, and be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Cleveland Public Library hereby ratifies and approves the leases with Enterprise FM Trust of the 3 new vehicles shown in the attachments to the resolution, basically the Silverados described. So moved.
Second?
Ms. Betts?
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Mr. Corrigan?
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Rashid?
Yes.
Ms. Fryer?
Yes.
And Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Exhibit 5 is a resolution to authorize the agreement for renovations to Tech Central and to authorize the project budget. Whereas the library published a notice to bidders in the Plain Dealer on August 5th, 2024 and August 12th, seeking bids for contractors to renovate Tech Central and the Stokes Wing with such improvements as carpet paint, ceiling, acoustical treatments, electrical and technology updates, and updated LED lighting. And whereas pursuant to Ohio public construction laws, the library is required to provide all prospective bidders with an estimate of the total cost for such work for which bids are being sought. And whereas the library estimates the total cost for the Tech Central renovations, including alternate bid items, to be $755,000, and therefore the maximum value of a contract the library may award to a bidder for this project is $906,000. And whereas the library received the following 5 sealed bids for the Tech Central renovation project from the prospective bidders on Tuesday, September 3rd, the contractors being Sterling Professional Groups, Fagali Brothers LLC, Millstone Management Group Incorporated, Perk Company, and RL Hill Management Incorporated. Whereas in accordance with the Ohio Revised Code, Section 337541, the library reviewed and evaluated the bids and determined that the Sterling Professional Group submitted the lowest responsible bid in the amount of $575,795. Whereas the library's chief operating officer recommends the board adopt the library's determination that Sterling Professional Group's bid represented the lowest and best bid, and as and that this board establish the project budget as set forth in Exhibit A. And therefore, be it resolved that the board hereby adopts the determination of the library administration that the bid submitted by Sterling is the lowest responsible bid among the 5 bids received, and authorizes the executive CEO or his designee to enter into an agreement with Sterling Professional Group, subject to the approval of the Director of Legal Affairs, for a total cost not to exceed $575,795. That was hundreds of thousands. Resolved that the Board of Library Trustees approves the total project budget for Tech Center renovation project as set forth in Exhibit A, which expenditures of $129,725 shall be charged to the Founders Fund account using the gift from the Gene Z Piety Trust, and the remaining expenditures of $578,769 be charged to the Building Repair Fund 401, and hereby authorizes the Executive Director, CEO, or his designee to move forward in taking the steps necessary to complete the Tech Central renovation project and execute such instruments or documents as may be necessary to effectuate the terms, including those in excess of $75,000, and which are payable from the project budget established herein. And be it resolved that the board authorizes the CEO to allocate the budget amount set forth in Exhibit A for the owner's contingency, technology, and equipment as needed, provided that such reallocations shall not increase the overall project budget for the Tech Central renovation project. The library shall report monthly to the board on expenditures from the owner's contingency fund. This was reviewed at the Tuesday Finance Committee meeting, and I move its adoption.
Second.
Ms. Bunt?
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Mr. Corrigan?
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Rashid?
Yes.
Ms. Fryer?
Yes.
And Mr. Parker?
Yes.
And I cannot let it go without remembering Dayton Piety, who's a big part of this. And those of us who know her and know how much she cared about this library, and particularly the science and technical aspects of both what we operate with, but what also we teach and help the community understand. So I just wanted to make sure I mentioned that as well. Exhibit 6 is a resolution to authorize agreement for the Eastman Reading Garden Lighting Project. Whereas on April 18th, the board authorized the director or his designee to proceed with soliciting of competitive bids for the purchase and installation or reinstallation alone of lighting equipment specified by the Ron Friedman Lighting Design for the Eastman Reading Garden Lighting Project. Whereas the library published a notice to bidders in the Plain Dealer on August 10th, 24, and August 2024, seeking bids from contractors to procure, install, and program materials to implement the lighting project. On September 10th, the library received one sealed bid from Penn Ohio Electric in the amount of $687,930. Whereas the administration reviewed Penn Ohio's electric bid and determined it was the lowest responsible bid as required by the Ohio Revised Code, and that the bid was in compliance with the Ohio Revised Code Section 153.12, as it did not exceed 120% of the estimated total project cost of $692,000. In fact, it's less than the $692,000. Be resolved that the board hereby adopts the determination of the administration that the bid submitted by Penn Ohio Electric is the lowest responsible bid, and authorizes the director as designated to enter into agreement with Penn Ohio Electric, subject to the approval of Director of Affairs for the lighting project for a total cost of $687,930, the expenditure being charged to the Building Repair Fund 401 using project code 17901, and being further resolved that the director is designated as authorized to establish a project contingency fund for the lighting project in the amount of $69,000, representing approximately 10% of the contract amount, with the expenditure being charged to the Building Repair Fund using project code 17901 to make expenditures and to pay the costs resulting from changes and additions to this project, which may be made in the future by the library. The library shall report monthly to the board on expenditures from the lighting project contingency fund. So moved.
Second.
Ms. Bunt?
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Mr. Corrigan?
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Rashid?
Yes.
Ms. Fryer?
Yes.
And Mr. Parker?
Yes.
When is this supposed to be completed by? They began already, didn't they? Or what's the work that's being done in the Reading Garden now?
No, upon approval, we'll have a kickoff meeting with the contractor. They'll make the technical submittals on the lighting system per our specifications. That'll be approved by the library and our designer, and then they'll initiate ordering. So the gray area is exactly how long it's going to take for the specialized equipment to arrive. We're estimating a 60 to 90 outward size, 120 days period. So we'd love to get it in by the end of the year, especially for Winterfest. I'm not sure if that's possible with the way the supply chain is, but we'll figure that out when we get through the technical submittals.
Because there was some work being done in the garden, wasn't there?
There's always work being done in the garden.
Okay, just check.
But nothing on this scale.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Thank you.
I just have a question. Well, while this is, when the supplies come in and the equipment comes, does that mean the garden will have to be closed, or can the work be done while it's open?
We'll work through that with the contractor once we kick off. I think there may be some closures. A lot of the work will be off to the sides, and some of it will actually be done from inside the building. So we'll certainly try to minimize any closures, but it is possible that we could have some isolated closures.
Exhibit 7 is a resolution to amend project budget for the new Martin Luther King Jr. branch and to authorize amendments to the agreement for design services. Whereas on June 18, 2019, the board authorized an agreement with SOIL Office Limited and J. Kurtz Architects Limited in the amount of $1,456,525 for architectural engineering design services for the new Martin Luther King Jr. branch. The library and J. Kurtz Architects entered into an agreement in the amount of $1,435,210 on November 15, 2019. And whereas over the course of the last 5 years, this board has approved 6 amendments to that agreement, both expanding the scope of the architect services and increasing their fees, the most recent such amendment being by the board on December 21, 2023, which increased the architect's total fees to $2,265,110. Whereas on February 15, 2022, the board approved a total project budget for the construction of the Martin Luther King Jr. branch, which budget was amended by this board 5 times, and the most recent amendment have occurred on June 18, 2024, as shown in Exhibit A to this resolution. Whereas the administration has determined it is necessary to further amend the agreement with J. Kurtz to allow for an additional construction and add services required to address water damage that occurred in the spring of 2024, to allow for additional design services to address coordination issues with the podium structures and stairways and modify the building's egress plan in order to maximize the building's capacity. And whereas the administration seeks to amend the agreement with J. Kurtz to include additional construction, administration, design services as described for an added fee of $60,000, which will increase Kurtz's total fee to $2,325,110. Whereas the board finds this increase in fees to be fair and reasonable, whereas the chief operating officer recommends the board approve the revised project budget as shown in Exhibit A to this resolution for the builder's owner's contingency fund, furniture, fixtures, and equipment, architecture, engineering fees, and other direct costs to cover, among other expenses, construction change orders related to the roof and related and equipment modification, movie theater quality projection and sound equipment, lighting for the Annisfeld Wolf Book Collection, and additional construction administration and design services, and enhanced furniture for the children's immersive environment play and learn area. Now therefore be it resolved that the board authorizes executive director or CEO or is designated to negotiate and execute an amendment to the agreement with J. Kurtz in the amount of not to exceed $60,000 with expenditure being charged to construction tax exempt fund account 402-76705-55300 construction improvements, and increasing the agreement to a total cost of $2,325,110 in such form as approved by the Director of Legal Affairs. And be further resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves the total project budget for the new MLK branch project as set forth in Exhibit A of this resolution, which expenditures shall be charged to the Construction Tax Exempt Fund 402 and or the Construction Taxable Fund 403. So moved.
Second.
Ms. Butts?
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Mr. Corrigan?
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Rashid?
Yes.
Ms. Fryer?
Yes.
And Mr. Parker?
Yes.
And Exhibit 8 is a resolution authorizing agreement with Securities Technologies for alarm monitoring services, where on May 2021, the board ratified an agreement with Guardian Alarm to monitor the library's burglar and fire alarms for a 3-year term ending April 30, 2024, whereas through various amendments over the course of the agreement, the term of the library's agreement with Guardian was extended until December 31, 2024. In advance of the expiration of the current agreement, the library sought proposals and pricing for alarm monitoring services from various companies, whereas the library issued requests for proposals to 14 different businesses on May 31, 2024, seeking proposals for alarm monitoring services, and received 2 proposals, one from Guardian Alarm for $112,363.20 and from Securitas Technology, $91,392. Whereas upon the expiration of the current agreement with Guardian Alarm, the administration recommends entering into a new agreement with Securitas Technology for alarm monitoring services for all library locations for a term beginning January 1, 2025, with an initial cost of first-year cost of $48,960, with an option to extend the term of the agreement for up to 2 additional one-year terms at a cost of $21,216 per year for the second and third years, a total cost of $91,392 over the 3-year period term. Be resolved, the board hereby authorizes the executive director, CEO, or his designee to enter into agreement with Securitas Technology, subject to the approval of Director of Legal Affairs for alarm monitoring services for all library locations, up to a 3-year term beginning January 1, 2025, in the amount of $91,392, with expenditure being charged to the general fund account 129-30053-53340, building maintenance. So moved. I just had, I'm sorry I missed Tuesday. Is this Securitas Technology the same people who do jail communications?
I don't know the answer to that question.
Okay. I mean, I just.
Director Goins is here this morning.
That does what, jail?
It's a different company.
I believe so.
Okay. The reason I ask is you've talked to any defense lawyer in town about the system that Securitas allegedly runs for the county jail, and you will get an armful of complaints. I mean, that's not, in my regard, a well-respected company, and they terribly overcharge families of people in jail. And it's a questionable operation in my book from a defense lawyer standpoint, but I don't know whether it's the same company or not. So if you can check on that, I'd appreciate it.
Okay, you have information from Cuyahoga County?
Yeah, the Cuyahoga County Jail, Securitas, it's probably the largest jail phone service company in the country at the moment. And you can go to any Wall Street Journal or Barron's or anybody and find articles about them, about the questionableness of their corporate enterprise. Not that they're doing anything illegal, it's just that there's a lot of people concerned about how much the
So
public
you're thinking this is a different part of the system? This is alarm, so you're
Yeah.
talking about the phone system?
Yeah.
So
I'm
it's
talking about
two
the phone
different,
system.
Yeah, I'll definitely follow up, but we did, as you mentioned, solicit multiple proposals.
Right.
2 responded, and Securitas had the better of the 2 bids.
Right. No, I understand that. And I know something about the bidding they do on the phone system, and they basically have achieved their market share by underbidding and then finding a way to make the money elsewhere. Unfortunately, money made isn't from the government, it's usually from the families of the people in jail. And since the people I'm talking about haven't been convicted of anything yet, they're just waiting. There's a sense of unfairness on the part of us defense lawyers about it. So
Yeah, I'll check into it.
thank you.
Out of curiosity, given the number of break-ins and issues that we've had, does this agreement maintain kind of the status quo system that we've had, or are there enhancements or new things that are added as a part of this?
So this is strictly monitoring. There's no hardware associated with this. So we're not buying any security devices from Securitas. We're asking them to monitor our library-owned security systems, which we've been enhancing project to project as the FMP arrives to them. So typically, an FMP refreshed or new building will have additional cameras, additional glass break sensors, intrusion detection system, and panels. So we have not retrofitted all of the buildings yet. We're achieving those case by case as the FMP moves forward.
Got it, super helpful.
Just point of information, it's Securus Technologies, SECURUS is the one that is for jails, and this is a different company.
But if we can just check to make sure they're not connected.
Will do, I'll follow up.
Thank you.
We did have issues with Guardian also.
No, I'm not a big fan of them either, but that's a different issue.
And the vote, Ms. Butts?
Yes.
Mr. Carey?
Yes.
Mr. Corrigan?
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Rasheed?
Yes.
Ms. Ms. Fryer,
Yes.
and Mr. Parker.
Yes.
Exhibit 9 is the Seventh Amendment to the year 2024 appropriation, whereas the Revised Code, Section 570540, provides for the amendment of appropriation measure when necessary, and now deemed necessary to amend the year 2024 appropriation, which complies with the amended official certificate of estimated resources received from the Cuyahoga County Budget Commission dated June 26, 24, whereas the aggregate of all appropriation classifications does not exceed the total amount submitted previously to the Cuyahoga County Budget Commission. Now therefore be resolved that the sums indicated in the attached Seventh Amendment to the year 2024 appropriation schedule be approved. So moved.
Second.
And then only because I wasn't here, and I apologize for my trial going over, but the most substantial change here.
Well, the only thing that we're appropriating is the Tech Central renovation project and the Eastman Reading Garden project in the building and repair fund. We were able to transfer over funds for the MLK project from projects that were closing out, so we didn't have to appropriate funds for that.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ms. Butts,
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian,
Yes.
Mr. Gordon,
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez.
Yes.
Ms. Rashid,
Yes.
Ms. Fryer,
Yes.
and Mr. Parker.
Yes.
The remainder of the Finance Committee report are the customary monthly reports, the fiscal officer's report, A1, and A2 for June, July, and August. Similar for report on investments, B1, B2, and B1, and B2. Reports on the conference and travel expenditures, which includes the travel to the American Library Association meeting in San Diego. Report C, C1, and C2. Report on all vendor expenditures, June, July, and August. Reports D1, D1, and D2. And report on expenditures made from the owner's contingency funds for the Huff West Park Woodland, basically the Phase 1 projects, reports E, E1, and E2. And reports on expenditures made from the owner's contingency fund for the high-density shelving project, again for the months June, July, and August of 2024, F1, and F2. And finally, a report on the fees paid for legal and consulting services for the period of this last quarter, April 1, 2024 through June 30, 2024. That's report G. That concludes the Finance Committee report. And again, I apologize for not being there Tuesday.
Thank you so much. We're now going to move into the Human Resource Committee report. Trustee Shakarian, please.
Thank you. I present to the board the regular employment report detailing the new hires, resignations, retirements, terminations, and compensation changes. So moved.
Second.
Ms. Butts,
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian.
Yes.
Mr. Gordon,
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez.
Yes.
Ms. Rashid,
Yes.
Ms. Fryer,
Yes.
and Mr. Parker.
Yes.
And I present Exhibit 11, resolution to, hold on, my computer's slow. Resolution to amend the Human Resources Manual, whereas pursuant to Section 120 of the Human Resources Manual, the Board of Library Trustees must approve all changes to the HR manual, and whereas the library's HR department is in the process of conducting a comprehensive review and revision of the HR manual to reflect the prevailing practices in today's workplace, and whereas the library's HR department recommends that the HR manual be revised to include an updated Section 490 drug-free workplace and related procedure and a revised Section 270 driver's policy and related procedure. The two policies are set forth in Exhibit A to this resolution. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Library Trustees hereby approves the proposed revisions to the HR manual as attached to this resolution to update sections 490 and 270 of the HR manual, with the updates becoming effective September 20th, 2024, and instructs the library's management to be responsible for the implementation and execution of the provisions of these policies and their related procedures. So moved.
Second.
Ms. Butts,
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian,
Yes.
Mr. Gordon,
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez,
Yes.
Ms. Rashid,
Yes.
Ms. Fryer,
Yes.
and Mr. Parker.
Yes.
And I am pleased to present the retirement recognition citations for approval by this body. A citation has been issued for the following staff members on the occasion of their retirement. Sheila Majette Price, for 21 years, retired in June. Mark MacArthur, 32 years, retired in July. Linda Veras 20 years at the library, retired in July. Jenna Sauls, 30 years, retired in August. Reginald Chappelle, 23 years of service, retired in August. And Anthony Pajola, 17 years, retired this month. Be it resolved that the citation for the above staff members presented by the Board of Trustees in appreciation of their faithful and dedicated service given to the library be recorded in the minutes of this meeting, and be it further resolved that the citation be sent to them forthwith. They are not present at this meeting of the Board of Trustees. So moved.
Second. Ms. Bunce?
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Mr. Corrigan?
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Rashid?
Yes.
Ms. Fryer?
Yes.
And Mr. Parker?
Yes.
The balance of my report are reports included in the packet on paid sick time, employee demographics, our EEO4 report, and the insurance summary report. Of note, for the employee demographics, I'm just really proud as a board member how much our employee demographics reflects the community that we serve. So thank you, Director. That concludes my report.
Thank you so much. We're now going to move into the Community Service Committee report. Trustee Fryer, please.
The first item is the library usage trends, report K. And especially given what the director shared earlier about the decline in attendance in libraries across the country, was pleased certainly to see that our actual attendance far exceeds anticipated attendance for various programs. Moving on to the building tax update.
I'll keep it brief with just a few updates this month. On the FMP side, I'm pleased that the kind of one-on-one tour Trustee Parker and I had planned for next week has now been extended to the full board. So
We invited ourselves in.
that'll be 1 o'clock next Friday.
No additional pressure then.
That's not
I know some of
tomorrow.
you've seen it
Not tomorrow, next month.
the week from tomorrow. I know some of you've seen the project through the construction process. It's really moving forward now. Metal panel, exterior panel is being placed. I was on the building yesterday. They've started the finishing the grinding and the polishing of the concrete floors, and the ceiling and lighting installation is nearly complete. So it's starting to really take shape. I look forward to showing the building off to as many of you who are able to join us. On the Waltz project, we continue to meet with the Northwest Neighborhoods team, helping better understand their process through this layering review they're doing with Cuyahoga Metro Housing as part of their capital stack for the financing. We're in conversations with Gilbane about the level of effort and potential additional expenses required with another rebid of the project. So we may be back to board within the next month with the report on fees for that. But that dialogue is moving forward. And then the Glenville project, I'm pleased to say, is on schedule, on budget, looking good for a late spring, early summer of 2025 opening. On the non-FMP in-house side, the employee break room, there's a final change order that needs to be executed for floor restoration, but I noted that the kitchen equipment installation has started this week. So if you happen to be on the lower level of Main, you can see that, and hopefully look forward to scheduling a low-key ribbon cutting for that space here in the next 2 months or so. And on the building operations side, we're right in that shoulder season of transitioning from cooling season to heating season. So working through the all 27 of our branches in the downtown campus as we do that on the HVAC side.
I drove past Glenville the other day and it's just so striking, the raising of the roof. You know, I saw the plans, but then to see that structure in person, it changes the look on the street considerably, and it's going to be a really nice presence for us in Glenville.
We use the word reimagine to discuss a lot of our
yes,
projects, but I
yes.
really feel like it's especially apt on that project. It's a dramatic change.
And when the time is right, not that you're going to be a tour guide all the time, but I would like a hard head tour of that. When the
Oh,
time is
sure.
right.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
those are fun. I love doing that. Yeah.
Thank you. The advocacy task force update.
Hi, I'm coming. So today's my son's birthday and I called him at 6 in the morning and I'm just getting a call back.
Oh boy, was it the 21st birthday?
It was the 19th. Anywho, let's see where I am at on his list. But good afternoon. Good afternoon. In alignment with our goal to make sure we keep our elected officials updated on our work, we've been inviting them to certain things, such as we had a program at one of our branches with Cleveland Reeds and Jacqueline's leadership with the Cleveland Browns, and Councilwoman Spencer attended that event along with a representative from the mayor's education office. In alignment with the tour guide role will be Director Thomas is leading a tour with Council President Griffin in the coming weeks and a couple other key stakeholders that we want to get out there. So we want to continue to do that. MLK
in particular.
Mhm.
We also had company at the table for Ketanji Brown Jackson as well, didn't we?
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
No, I'm just saying, so that was part of what you're doing, reaching out and inviting other people.
Other people
There
to
was,
come.
they were sitting at the table next to us, so.
Absolutely. We had some donors there. We had some foundation board members and just key stakeholders, just to really keep them close to our work so that they're informed.
Yeah.
As we are also gearing up for a series of meetings with Director Thomas and our state officials. You know, we're gearing up for a state budget, and we received word from the Ohio Library Council that state revenue is down almost $500 million this fiscal year. And so we want to meet with these elected officials to re-educate them on how libraries are funded. And the OLC is also considering what our ask will be this year. Coming in the year, we're at 1.7 permanent of the state revenue of the state budget, but we're looking at an increase given the decrease in state revenue receipts. And so we're working with Tim Cosgrove, and he'll be getting us a series of meetings with key decision makers in the coming months. In addition to that, you want me to roll into foundation?
Well, just a comment on
yes.
We almost have a complete turnover of our delegation
Yeah.
at the state
That's-
November 5th. And I think getting them between November 5th and before the General Assembly starts would be a key time. So any particular library events
Yes,
that we can
yes.
help get folks who are not currently seated, but then, in the elect position, we should make special effort, and I'm happy to help.
So the
Thank you.
the
Yes.
event, yeah, we could get them invited to the fundraising event.
Yeah.
That too, but
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I was just going to say, to your point there, so some of our local state delegation are running right now. And so getting, they may be busy, but we're prioritizing the ones that are not running this year and getting him in front of them, and then working with the ones post-election as well. So, and yes, I'm going to take you up on that. As it relates to the foundation, all hands on deck for the October 25th event are the foundation's annual fundraiser. Tickets are on sale. Been working with marketing, thanks to marketing, on a press release that will be going out. We're hoping we can do some promotions on TV as well for the event. It's going to be very, very exciting. And I'll be working with Stephanie to give you the date for the holiday mixer that we do each year with both boards. So that'll be coming up as well.
And maybe
Perfect.
the school district friends too.
Okay, yes.
You don't have a date yet for the holiday
I
mixer,
think it's December 12th, but I will confirm. It's usually the date, the final board meeting date for the foundation. It usually happens right after that. So December 12th, tentatively, but we'll confirm. Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. The diversity, equity, and inclusion update.
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
The Office of DEI is proud to announce the launch of our Leadership League Affinity Group for CPL's middle management leaders. The goal of our affinity group is to provide a safe space for CPL supervisors, managers, and directors to engage in meaningful conversation and identify helpful tools and resources to support them in the workplace. Also, in August, our Cultural Diversity ERG participated in Cleveland's 78th One World Day event, partnered with Outreach and Programming. We were afforded the opportunity to have our On the Road to Reading van there, and we were also able to provide fresh produce to our community members. The 78th One World Day event is made possible by the Cleveland Cultural Gardens Foundation, and it allowed us to participate with more than almost 120 ethnicities throughout Cleveland. So we're a very diverse group here, and more than 30,000 people actually attended. So we were able to pass out books to more than 30,000 people. In September, our ERG, Cultural Diversity ERG, participated for the very first time at the Hungarian Festival. It was the 68th Annual Hungarian Festival, previously known as the Hungarian Scout Day. This festival is designed to celebrate the Hungarian culture while fundraising for the Hungarian Scout Association. If you are not familiar with the Hungarian Scout Association, it has about 4,000 scouts and 70 troops in 11 countries throughout the world. So Cleveland here has 250 scouts throughout our city. And so we were proud to participate with that and get the word out about the Cleveland Public Library and all the different events and programs we have to offer. As we continue our mission as the People's University, in August, DEI introduced a new civility training to our staff. We also partnered with our IT department to host our first lunch and learn for staff, specifically about Microsoft accessibility features. Staff learned how to access and utilize several features that will allow them to better assist patrons and staff alike. If you don't know, Microsoft has accessibility features and resources for people with disabilities that are to help enhance those with vision, low vision, hearing, neurodiversity, and learning mobility and mental health challenges. So we have just begun to scratch the surface of all these different accessibility tools on Microsoft, so we do intend to have another lunch and learn for staff. DEI continues to work with our Youth and Family Engagement Department, as well as CMSD's Integrated Health Department. Our department will soon provide sensory starter kits to all 27 of our branches, including Maine. These kits will be comprised of noise cancellation, silencing headphones, an array of sensory items that will support our patrons with sensory needs so that they can enjoy their library experience. I also want to just share with you all, this was brought to diversity, our DEI department's attention by branch manager Leslie Barrett from our Fulton branch. She has a number of patrons that she serviced with sensory needs, and she started by providing her own sensory kits. And once she brought it to DEI's attention, we thought it would be a great opportunity to partner with Ms. Lamb and with CMSD so that we can bring the right professionals to the table to identify what needed to go in those kits. So soon, everyone will receive 3 sensory kits at their branches.
Wonderful.
Can you bring one to the next board meeting so I can see what, I don't know what that entails, and I want to be educated as well.
Absolutely.
So if somebody asks me, I could also let them know.
Absolutely. DEI continues to host and facilitate quarterly meetings with DEI library professionals. Actually, Dr. Carlos Marshall, who was here today, he actually attends our quarterly meetings. This group is expanding as invitations were recently extended to Cleveland Heights, Stark County, Stone Monroe Falls, and currently we have Columbus, Dayton, Cincinnati, and Cuyahoga County that attend our quarterly meetings. There we talk about different DEI issues of concern. We can continue to enhance DEI in our libraries. Now for September, you all know Hispanic Heritage Month started in September 15th. Latinos Juntos is proud to announce our Friday, September 20th kickoff for Hispanic Heritage Month. It will be held at our South Branch. The event will start at 5:30, and I do have flyers for everyone.
Last year, it was fabulous. I'm sure
music
it
was
will be again.
Yes, so it will start at 5:30. Director, I know you know all about it. I've been telling you all about it. We will have music performances by Grupo Fuego. We will have food by Recon. We will also, this year will be something new. We will have our dance performance. Our dance performance will be by Azteca Guadalupana. And we will close out, this is something different. This year we will close out our celebration at Carnegie West. So we will have a live on the lawn performance with a Plan B.
There you go.
The weather does not permit. But we'll be live on the lawn. We will have a food truck there for our patrons, where we'll be having food brought to us by Holy Free Holies. And we will have a flamenco guitarist, Sonny Mitchell, who will be performing for our Carnegie West patrons. And last but definitely not least, You all know that Monday, October 14th is Indigenous Peoples Day. And on that day, we will host our ALA president, Madam Cindy Ho, the second Indigenous person to hold ALA presidency. This event will be in partnership with the City Club, and the event will be titled Libraries and Democracy. So we invite you all to attend. You will receive a formal invitation.
What's the date again?
It's going to be Monday, October 14th. And you will receive.
Tickets were free.
Yes, they're free. You can register online, but obviously you all will receive a formal invitation, and it's coming forward. And there we will have authentic Indigenous food for both you and our patrons. And we're also hoping to solidify Indigenous performance as well. So
Where will that be held?
it will be here at the Louis Stokes Wing in Auditorium.
Uh-huh.
And that's the report.
Thank you.
Wow. Thank you.
It's always exciting to hear the diversity of the programs. And since ALA was mentioned again, I thought your presentation was fantastic there. Of course, I'm biased, but a couple of things that I think the board didn't say earlier. One, it's just awesome to see the praise and connections that not only Director Thomas has, but really the rest of the staff has, and to see you all lead learners, if you will, out of the library and other spaces is just so awesome. And throughout all of the reports today, the collaboration amongst the team helps us accomplish our People's University mission. Also, special shout out to Stephanie, who got sick on the tail end of ALA, but helped coordinate, and with probably other staff as well, a dinner for us to have with other library board members across the country. I believe it was representatives from South Carolina, Louisiana, and other states, which was also awesome. And of course, anywhere you go, when you mention Cleveland or Ohio, everyone knows Director Thomas.
Yes, they do. This is true.
Yeah. The last thing I will say is, I think today with all of the updates, whether it's the barber shop or with the hotspots or the sensory kits, this staff continues to meet people where they are, and to go outside the walls of our buildings and really into the community. And I always hear us leading with the continuous improvement mindset, and to hear how you all touch even Mr. Myers live is just awesome to hear.
Well said.
That is
said.
it.
I've got to add to that. I'm just blown away by what happens. For instance, like the singer showcase was it's amazing. And to see the way that we're able to touch the lives, the staff is just phenomenal. The different generations, programs were used, but to see those singers come out and all of the different resources available, lots of kudos to the staff for that. That was awesome.
I want to point out something too, two things. One, whenever I go to national meetings, and it happened again at the ALA this summer, everybody's very jealous of what we have for budget. The support we get compared to other big city libraries, and certainly even smaller city libraries, is just unique.
We're so lucky to be
we are so lucky to have the sort of taxpayer support that we have. And not that we shouldn't keep fighting for the state, but it's real important that we keep that local support, because in my time on the board, it's flipped from being almost 2/3 state to now being almost 2/3 our own local tax base. Secondly, I wanted to report only because the foundation board is bigger now and has more members and newer members. So I did an explanation at the last foundation board meeting. In the past, the political action committee that we set up to support our levies always supported with whatever we had left over, the next school levy that was on the ballot. We are a school district library. We're so connected to CMSD. And I did an explanation because we haven't had to do a levy recently, but we still had some funds left in the old campaign. So the foundation controls that sort of thing. So the foundation authorized a contribution to the campaign for the school levy that's on the ballot. And I just wanted to reinforce, obviously, we'll see each other again before November, but early voting is starting soon. This is a very critical time for the Cleveland Metropolitan School District, and they really do need the levy support. And it's just tougher for libraries if the schools are deficient. We need a healthy partner on the other side for our
Issue
children.
49, you have to tell every Clevelander to please vote yes for issue 49.
So I just wanted to emphasize that if I could.
Yeah.
Thank you. But I also want to thank our board. You know, the library has so much going on all over the city. And it's very obvious how much we all go out. We might not always be at the same place together, just like Anthony was talking about the senior showcase. They did one on the west side, and how we are all trying to make ourselves visible in the community and attend events. There's a lot of events, and you know, we all try to go wherever we can and when we can. So I do appreciate being kept informed, because there's a lot. The director can't do it all.
No.
We would have to
And
close
like
it
I
5
appreciate,
times.
like I appreciate you're going to be there to give words tomorrow night
Yes, I will.
for the program, and so you know I'm going to be calling on all of you at some point in time to give words at these events. They appreciate seeing the board members and seeing the board members speak to the community members, because that's what you are.
And I think that's something that we do, and we do it well. And, you know, between Stephanie and Michael, making sure that we are aware what's in our community, so that when we are speaking with our community members, they know who we are and that we are there for them. Thank you.
Great job.
Yes. We have no old or new business. We have Miss Gardner here. Now, would you like to give us a couple minutes of your time, please? Yes, for public comment.
Yes, and this kind of pertains to an incident that occurred yesterday.
Could you pull the microphone
Yes,
lower?
ma'am. I'm a
Thank
short
you.
person.
You got it.
This sort of pertains to an incident that occurred yesterday, and kind of piggybacked on library attendance. And I have noticed from going to the library, I've been away from Cleveland for a number of years, grew up in Cleveland, was not born in Cleveland, but raised here. And library aficionado, always came to the library from a young age, went to library school, have a master's degree in library science, following on my dad's legacy, I could say. He passed last year. He retired from San Francisco Public Library. And noticing coming to the library, there has been one of the biggest contributors, I feel personally, to disruptive behavior would be the staff. The noise, the personal conversations, et cetera, et cetera. And then when there is disruptive behavior by a patron, no one says anything. Mum's the word. And then when you say, could you be, I'm sorry,
I was wondering, did you experience this in one of the branches or what?
I experienced this actually yesterday here, but I have experienced it in the branches as well. And when you say to someone, you know, it's a little loud, I'm trying to concentrate, I'm trying to read, I am the enemy because I'm speaking the truth. I am public enemy number one. He called security on me yesterday. And I thank God for the security having the foresight to say, let's have a conversation. And once they did that, they said, we see your side. And then when I say that I have a master's degree in library science, I'm a liar. And I don't understand that. I would not sit here. The person said to me, I am a librarian. I said, I am a librarian as well. By profession, I am technically a librarian as well. I'm not working in the library right now, but I do have a master's degree in library science. And I'm obviously lying, and I'm not. And so this is, for me at least, I cannot speak for the greater Cleveland community, is why I don't like to come to the library. As a patron, but also as someone who has gone to library school. And people ask me all the time, do you really need to go to library school? Yes, you do. Because you will understand the history of libraries. You will understand bibliographic control. You will understand how libraries operate. And to tell me that I don't know how to utilize a library is not true. to defame me. Another staff member, Karen, told me that I went to the Eastman Library during COVID and I expected people to clean up after me. That is categorically false. So as you're saying, I understand the library's dilemma. I understand, I read Library Journal, subscribed for years. I don't subscribe now. However, the library is becoming community centers as opposed to what I would, and I looked up the definition this morning, cultural institutions which promote literacy, education, and intellectual growth. Another thing that came to me, maybe this is cultural. In Asian cultures, there is respect for the scholar. And I said this to security yesterday. Where does the scholar go? Where does the lifelong learner go? Where does the reader go? Because for a lot of the noise and other things that take the library, there are plenty of venues for that. But I don't see plenty of venues for the person who is interested in lifelong learning, in reading, in studying. I don't see a lot of venues in society for that. And, you know, I've seen this come up sometimes in videos. People will go to Japan or Korea and they say, it's like living in year 3000. And I don't think that there is a disconnect between living in year 3000 and their respect for the scholar. They uphold that. We don't uphold that. So I'm going to probably have to accept that this is American culture. But I think a real problem is a lot of people are working in libraries because they pay pretty well, but they don't have a passion for the library. They don't have a love for the library. They don't respect the library. And I'm on board with how blessed Cleveland is. Cleveland has been ranked in the top 10, top 5, top 3 libraries over and over and over again. I've talked to staff here. They don't even realize Cleveland is ranked with Harvard and Yale and these other research libraries because it is a public research library, not just a generic public library. So no, people don't realize how blessed they are. They don't realize what they have, and it's a shame.
Ms. Gardner, I thank you for bringing this to our attention, and I took some notes here, and I'm going to make sure we look into this, and hopefully your next experience here will be a lot better.
Ms. Gardner, would you mind having a conversation with Mrs. Parks? Mrs. Parks is the head of all of our public services, so
Yes.
every building is under her responsibility, and she takes your concerns very seriously.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Director. If there are no other public comments that were submitted electronically, and there isn't anyone else listed to speak, I now call this meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Can I,